This is Martin Sheen. He's 36 years old, standing half naked in a Saigon hotel room and about to have a real mental breakdown. Not in the story, in real life. Because the movie he's in isn't just pretending to be dangerous, it actually is. Helicopters are real, explosions are real, and the actors were actually in the middle of the jungle.
What do you think?
It's beautiful.
All whilst the jungle is alive with a real civil war just a few miles away. This is not just another film about Vietnam, it's a film that nearly destroyed everyone who made it. And yet, it became one of the most legendary pieces of cinema ever created. This is the true story behind Apocalypse Now. Chapter 1. Enter the Heart of Darkness. 1976. America is still healing from the Vietnam War, and Francis Ford Coppola, riding high after The Godfather Part 2, decides to make a movie that would capture the war's madness. Not its politics, but its soul.
They might like a story like that.
They might. They just might.
The script came from John Milius, who described it as a psychedelic war movie based on Joseph Conrad's Heart of Darkness. Coppola saw it differently. He said, "My film isn't about Vietnam.
It is Vietnam. Vietnam. It's what it was really like. It was crazy."
He didn't want to fake the jungle in some fancy studio, so he packed hundreds of cast and crew members into the Philippine rainforest, one of the most unpredictable filming environments on Earth. The local dictator, Ferdinand Marcos, lent Coppola real US-made helicopters complete with Filipino pilots, except those same pilots were called away mid-scene to fight actual guerrillas in the nearby hills. Yeah, that's right, the military recalled their helicopters to battle zones for actual combat missions during the shoot. Coppola financed much of the film himself, risking his house and winery. He poured every dollar and every ounce of sanity into making his vision real. From the start, everything went wrong. Chapter 2. A director on the edge. A typhoon named Olga ripped through the set, leveling entire villages and destroying months of work. Filming had to shut down for 8 weeks. Every day, it cost him thousands of dollars, driving Coppola deeper and deeper into bankruptcy. The script kept changing. Coppola rewrote entire scenes the night before filming. He confessed into a recorder, "I don't know how this movie ends. I don't even know what it means." The original lead, Harvey Keitel, was fired after a few weeks. Coppola replaced him with Martin Sheen, whose calm intensity seemed perfect. And this was true, right up until the line between acting and reality started to blur. Chapter 3. Martin Sheen's breakdown. The now famous hotel room scene wasn't planned the way it looks. Coppola gave Sheen no real direction and just told him to do whatever feels right. It was Sheen's 36th birthday, and already drunk and exhausted from the night, he began shadowboxing with himself, smashing a mirror and slicing open his hand. So I can't actually show you this next bit. It gets pretty graphic, and it's actually horrifying that this was Sheen's actual mental state during filming. It wasn't just part of his performance. Months later, while filming deep in the jungle, Sheen suffered a massive heart attack. Uncertain if Martin Sheen would even survive, Coppola panicked. And in this moment, it exposes the real effect this film was having on his sanity. Till this day, he is not proud of what he said.
If Marty dies, I want to hear that everything's okay until I say Marty is dead. You got it?
Sheen eventually returned, still weak, to finish the film. He later said, "We weren't acting, we were there, we were in hell." Chapter 4. The Arrival of Brando. Then came Marlon Brando, Coppola's idol, his dream casting, and his worst nightmare.
"I can't think of any more dialogue to say."
After demanding $1 million per week, plus a $1 million advancement from the studio, Brando arrived on set overweight, bold, and completely unprepared. He hadn't read The Heart of Darkness or even the script. Coppola spent days just talking with him, reading the novel aloud, improvising lines. The director decided to film him mostly in shadow, not as a trick, but as a necessity. It turned Brando's Colonel Kurtz into a mythical figure, half philosopher, half ghost. Brando mumbled his way through monologues that were rewritten on set.
"You're an errand boy, sent by grocery clerks."
But somehow, it worked. The darkness, the confusion, it all felt intentional. Coppola later admitted, if Brando had come in fit and prepared, it might not have been as interesting. Chapter 5. A war inside a war. Out in the jungle, the crew battled more than just artistic chaos. There were constant technical failures, food shortages and sickness. Humidity ruined film reels, extras caught malaria, the sound of real gunfire echoed from distant mountains. To stage the legendary helicopter assault set to Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries, Coppola used real military choppers lent by the Philippine Air Force. Quentin Tarantino himself later went on to praise this very scene as the pinnacle of cinema. And albeit a bit cringe in today's cinema, given the practicality of the scene, it is pretty f***ing cool. There were no digital effects. Every explosion, every bullet, every burning hut was practical. Between takes, the pilots often left to fight insurgents, leaving half the helicopters missing when Coppola called action. Meanwhile, Dennis Hopper, who was cast as manic photojournalist, lived his character off-screen as well.
I'm an American!
He reportedly stayed awake for days, fueled by rambling poetry to anyone who'd listen. Coppola couldn't control him, so he just kept the camera rolling.
Suddenly he'll grab you and he'll throw you in a corner and he'll say, do you know that if is the middle word in life? If you can keep your head when all about you're losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you. I mean, I can't...
Chapter 6. The Abyss Stares Back. The longer they stayed in the jungle, the more the line between film and reality collapsed. Coppola's weight dropped drastically. He suffered seizures and panic attacks. His wife Eleanor secretly filmed the entire ordeal for what would later become the documentary Hearts of Darkness, A Filmmaker's Apocalypse, because it truly was an apocalyptic experience. On those tapes, you can hear him whisper, "We are in the jungle, we have too much money, we have too much equipment, and little by little, we went insane." The shoot was meant to last 6 weeks. It lasted over 230 days. By the end, Coppola had mortgaged everything he owned. He was millions of dollars in debt, unsure if the movie even made sense anymore. But he refused to stop. He said, "If I don't finish this film, I'll never forgive myself." Chapter 7. Apocalypse Finished, or not. When filming finally wrapped, the nightmare continued. In any normal Hollywood production, the total film used would be approximately 26,000 feet. But as you can tell, this wasn't a normal production. Coppola returned home with 1.5 million feet of film, enough to stretch 280 miles. Editing took 2 years. The studio was losing faith. Coppola kept tinkering, cutting, and rewriting voiceovers. Finally, in 1979, Apocalypse Now premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, unfinished. Coppola screened 2 different cuts back to back, but when the lights came up, the audience erupted. The film won the Palme d'Or, shared with The Tin Drum. Still, not everyone understood it. Some critics called it incoherent, indulgent, insane. But others, like Roger Ebert, saw genius. He wrote, "It's not just a great film, it's one of the greatest of all films." Chapter 8. Legacy of the Madness. Apocalypse Now went on to earn 8 Oscar nominations, winning for sound and cinematography. But its real legacy isn't in awards, it's what it represents, the extreme edge of artistic obsession. Coppola later admitted he wasn't making a war movie, he was living one. He said, "My film isn't about Vietnam, it is Vietnam. The way we made it was the way the Americans were in the war, in the jungle, with too much of everything, losing sight of the mission." Years later, audiences would discover the truth behind that quote in Hearts of Darkness, A Filmmaker's Apocalypse, the documentary his wife assembled from her behind-the-scenes footage. It reveals Coppola's breakdowns, his doubts, and his terrifying honesty. He even says on camera, "I was making a film about a journey into madness, and I was the one going there." When the dust settled, Apocalypse Now had changed cinema. It proved that filmmaking could be as dangerous and as transformative as the story itself. Martin Sheen recovered, but said he never truly left the jungle. Coppola's career survived, but his confidence never fully did. He called the film a confession of everything I feared about myself. Today, when you watch Apocalypse Now, it still feels alive, disorienting, hypnotic, and terrifying. The sweat on the actors' faces was real. The fear was real. The madness was not performance, it's memory.
Just people who normally wouldn't make movies are going to be making them. And, you know, suddenly one day some little fat girl in Ohio is going to be the new Mozart, you know, and make a beautiful film with her little father's camera recorder. And for once, the so-called professionalism about movies will be destroyed forever, you know, and it'll really become an art form. That's my opinion.